Welcome to ITV News Meridian in the Southeast.
Your headlines this Friday evening. 30 years on, police believe the latest DNA advances could lead them to catch the killer of a baby girl found dead by a lake in Ashford.
If somebody has had this matter on their conscience for 30 years, my advice would be to them, go to the police before they go to you.
Tales of the cat cafes. Some want them phased out, but owners in Kent and Sussex say they're good for their cats and their customers.
Also tonight, the big and the small of it, 200 years of passenger travel. Celebrations in Margate.
Good evening. 30 years ago, the body of a newborn baby was found in a bag beside a lake near Ashford. Despite door-to-door inquiries around Singleton and a fingertip search of the area, her identity remained unknown.
Well, many years later, the body of the little girl was exhumed from a graveyard in the town. Police hoped advances in DNA techniques might help them identify her. Now, exactly 3 decades on, detectives are putting their hopes on further advances in science to lead them to the murderer.
As John Ryle now reports, it was a crime that shocked the community then and still upsets locals to this day.
April 1995, and police search Singleton Lake after 2 teenagers make a shocking discovery. The body of a week-old baby, strangled, wrapped in plastic and dumped. Sally Gathan remembers the community's shock.
It was a really popular meeting place for mums with babies. I'd got a 1-year-old at the time. And I think the main feeling amongst people was shock at such a beautiful place, something so terrible happening, and disbelief.
Despite an extensive murder investigation, April's parents were never identified. 16 years later, her body was exhumed and reburied for the gathering of DNA samples, but that also led nowhere. More recently, though, a number of cold case murders have been solved thanks to progress with familial DNA. And it's that police now hope will deliver a breakthrough in this case.
The familial DNA process allows us to identify those individuals on the DNA database that share very similar characteristics with their DNA. So the hope will be that there will be someone on the DNA database that is a direct family member of baby April, which will help us progress this case and ultimately identify those responsible for this murder.
Retired Detective Peter Blexley says there's every chance familial DNA tests will lead police to the killer's door.
If somebody has had this matter on their conscience for 30 years, my advice would be to them, go to the police before they go to you. Because even if the science doesn't give the answers today, it might do next year, or the year after, or the year after that.
I have no idea what led somebody to do what they did to baby April. But that's for 30 years to carry that burden with you must be almost impossible to bear. I can't begin to imagine it, and I don't know. I would urge you, whoever it is, to come forward and lay that burden down.
Anyone with information should contact Kent Police or Crime Stoppers if they want to remain anonymous. John Ryle, ITV News, Ashford.
A teenager accused of murdering his father in a suspected knife and hammer attack in Brighton has appeared at Lewes Crown Court. Fabio Botros Farag, who's 19, is also accused of attempting to kill a woman and a boy last Tuesday. His father, Imad Samir Botros Farag, was pronounced dead at the scene. He was a deacon at the St Mary and St Abram Coptic Orthodox Church in Hove. His son was remanded in custody for trial later this year.
A child rapist from Rainham in Medway has been jailed for offences committed almost 50 years ago. Alan Vinton, who's now 78, repeatedly abused his victim during the 1970s. She was 9 years old. The abuse took place over the course of a year and was first reported to Kent Police in 2021. Vinton was found guilty at Maidstone Crown Court and jailed for 17 years.
A chemical company has been fined £2.5 million for releasing corrosive acids into the air at its site in Thurrock. CCTV footage showed a hydrogen chloride gas cloud engulfing the plant within 60 seconds. Nearby schools were forced to close, and in another incident, sulphuric acid leaked from a cracked pipe. Industrial Chemicals Limited pleaded guilty to the incidents, which took place in 2020.
Now, the owner of a cat cafe in Kent has hit back at a leading animal welfare charity who said the businesses should be phased out.
Canterbury Tales Cat Cafe, where all the cats are rescued or rehomed, rejects the RSPCA's suggestion they are not good for cat welfare. Sarah Saunders has been for a visit.
Nestled in the heart of Canterbury's Old Town is a crew of 28 cats in the UK's largest cat cafe. Every feline in the Canterbury Tales has been rescued or rehomed.
So this here is Figgy. Figgy last year was diagnosed with an incurable heart condition. It's not something that's ever going to fix or go away, and he probably would have been put down for it. So this is Yogi. So he is one of our cats who requires daily eye cleaning. Just because of his breed, he gets quite weepy eyes. So we have to keep up with that daily. He also has a lot of allergies as well, but he's doing quite well right now.
Pip Harris, the owner here, rejects the suggestion by animal welfare charities that cat cafes are not a suitable environment for cats who could become stressed by living in large groups.
Every single one that we've taken on, we've made a promise to keep them here and keep them safe and keep them happy for the rest of their lives. A lot of these cats would have ended up in unsuitable homes or potentially in a foster system or even in RSPCA pens or the like. I know for a fact that some of the cats in our care probably would have ended up being put down, but because of the type of business that we are and the promise that I've made to look after these cats, we are fortunately able to provide for them.
There are now more than 30 cat cafes licensed in England, with 44% of them opening in the past year. The RSPCA believes more operate without regulation and is calling for this type of business to be phased out.
People who run cat cafes really do obviously care about their cats, but the thing about cats is they're very stoic. It's about where they've descended from their wild ancestors, which were very solitary animals. So it can sometimes be really hard to tell when a cat is unhappy because they're very good at hiding when they're stressed or in pain or not very happy. They may, for example, just sleep a lot.
I asked if cat cafe visitor Helen shared any of the RSPCA's concerns.
No, none whatsoever. You come into their home, so you come in as a guest, and they have rules which you have to respect, and I think that is lovely.
Pip agrees that cat cafes should be regulated. She would even like to see stricter rules, but she insists this is the perfect place for her cats. Sarah Saunders, ITV News, Canterbury.
In other news, plans for a second wind farm off the Sussex coast have been approved by the government. Up to 90 wind turbines can now be built, which could power more than 1 million homes. The electricity will be brought to shore under Climping Beach, leading to a new substation at Oakendene near Coalfield.
Now, a 7-year-old boy from Maidstone has been hailed a hero after he called 999 for his mother, who'd collapsed. Well, Franklin was at home with his 2 younger siblings and his mum last November when she fell ill. She was taken to hospital to get the care she needed, and the family was later invited to a South East Coast ambulance centre to recognise Franklin's bravery. Well deserved.
Kent's Conservative Police and Crime Commissioner Matthew Scott has published his new 4-year plan, vowing to cut crime and build trust in policing. His plans include continuing more hotspot patrols in areas with higher levels of antisocial behaviour and spending £4 million on support provision for victims of crime.
Now, the Volks Railway in Brighton reopens tomorrow, having undergone vital maintenance work. The popular seafront attraction is the world's oldest operating electric railway. It closed over the winter for refurbishment to the main structure. A new ticket office and gangway have been built.
You're watching ITV News in the Meridian region. Coming up.
The sun's out, so it must be cricket season. Kent and Sussex get ready for a sporting season.
And it's been the warmest day in quite some time, but with the Easter holidays now upon us, can the dry and sunny weather last? I'll be here, of course, with your forecast.
And you can find more on today's top stories in the region throughout the day on our website. Go to itv.com/Meridian. You can call us on 0808 1010 095. And remember, you can also follow us on Facebook, X and Instagram.
Now, Swim England says far too many people just aren't confident enough when getting into the water to swim. And it's getting worse. More parents in the region are taking their children out of swimming lessons too soon, often before the youngsters gain confidence.
Some families think swimming lessons are just too expensive, but Swim England says ensuring children can enjoy water activities safely is money well spent. Chris Conway has more.
For these children, time in the pool learning to swim is one of their favourite lessons.
If I ever fell into a river, I would know how to survive. I get to learn different things, like new things and things that I could never do. We got to dive in.
Parents in Crawley agree lessons are invaluable.
Will help for any fitness for them, and wherever they sort of go in life, if they want to go on holiday, there's always going to be water around, so it's all about water safety and making sure they can actually save their lives.
So I work around water, and he spends a lot of time around water as well, or at the seaside, so it's quite important that he's got the ability to swim. He's always been very confident around water, so I wanted to make sure that he could be safe as well.
But it seems not all parents share the same beliefs. Research by Swim England found that almost 3/4 of children don't achieve 4 water safety competencies, while more than half of children stopped lessons before mastering basic skills, such as treading water for 30 seconds. The majority of parents surveyed believed that a child being able to swim 20 metres was competent enough. Swim England say for safety reasons, that distance should be 100 metres.
We would say that stage 7 is where we would define you as a competent swimmer. A lot of children and a lot of parents pull their children out at stage 4.
Caitlin is the pool manager. With lessons grouped in stages, she says cancelling too soon can be dangerous.
They've not learned the sort of saving skills, they've not done the swimming with clothes, so if there was any danger, if they were walking near a lake or something and they fell in, you haven't learnt the skills yet to then pull yourself out, you haven't learned the life-saving skills to get yourself out of those situations, which is why we would say stage 7 typically is what we would define as a competent swimmer.
With many families facing increased financial pressure and the average charge for a weekly swimming lesson now costing parents around £7.50 per child, Swim England accepts learning to swim can be expensive.
Somebody on an average wage right now, it's really, really difficult. But please understand, these are the competencies that are required, we think, to keep your child safe so they can have great experiences in water, they can be safe in and around water. So it's about choices, difficult choices, but we think this is the choice that most parents would want to make.
Swim England say their focus is not to create future Olympic swimmers, but rather to ensure generations of children will be safe in the water. Chris Conway, ITV News.
All of our sides are playing away from home tomorrow in the Premier League and Football League. Brighton travel to rivals Crystal Palace, Crawley head to Stevenage, and Gareth Ainsworth looks for his first win as Gillingham's manager at Stevenage.
Now, the new county championship cricket season begins today. It's all change at the top for Kent, while Sussex are back in Division 1 after a decade out of the top flight. Here's Sarah Gom.
As if on cue, and perhaps uncharacteristically, the sun is shining upon the new cricket season. At Canterbury, former Surrey and England all-rounder Adam Hollyoake is preparing for his first season as the coach of Division 2 Kent. Famous for a no-nonsense approach, he's tasked with turning this club's fortunes around after a dismal last season when they notched only one championship win.
The championship is the majority of the season, and I think if you focus on that, then that gives you the best chance of having a good feeling about the club because of the amount of time it takes up. But we'll be trying our hardest in every competition.
We're all really excited to get Adam in, and yeah, looking forward to it. And he's already made a big impact already, so hopefully that will start to show on the pitch with the performances from us.
Along the coast, Sussex are back in the top flight after a 10-year absence, with coach Paul Farbrace aiming to win the title rather than survive a relegation battle.
Be challenging to win Division 1, and it's not something that, you know, we know it's going to be a really tough challenge, but if we start talking about, you know, survival and just happy to be back in Division 1, we're letting the players off the hook before we even start the series.
And it's set to be a special season for T20 captain Tamar Mills, honoured by the club this year with a testimonial, celebrating his efforts as a player on the pitch and his work as a person off it. Sarah Gom, ITV News.
Matt is probably very excited that cricket season has returned as a big cricketing fan.
Oh yeah, he's loving it. Now, back in 1825, the first train passengers in the UK would have travelled standing up in a coal wagon. Perhaps not ideal for your morning commute.
Well, 200 years on and railway journeys have changed dramatically, even if we still have to put up with the occasional delay and cancellation.
To celebrate 2 centuries of evolution in rail travel, Southeastern has teamed up with Hornby Hobbies in Margate. Joe Caution has more.
A new model train to mark a special milestone for British rail travel. Fortunately, the train now arriving on platform 4 is a bit less of a squeeze.
It's all to celebrate 200 years of train travel, and as a passenger on board, you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference. But from the outside, you can see a special commemorative plaque, and to mark the occasion, Hornby have designed a matching model that's 76 times smaller. Can you put me down now? We've got some interviews today.
And when you see Southeastern's high-speed Javelin model next to its 200-year-old ancestor, the Locomotion number 1, it's clear to see how our journeys have evolved.
They would have travelled at speeds of up to 15 miles per hour versus moved 200 years on, and we have the Southeastern high-speed train which can go up to 140 miles per hour. But more importantly, the luxuries for the passenger. I mean, here they were stood in a coal wagon, and now they have nice comfy seats. They have toilets, they have air conditioning, they have power supply, they have Wi-Fi, and they have a roof over their heads. So things have evolved a very, very long way.
Much nicer for passengers travelling, much harder for you to design the models. The attention to detail is incredible.
Yeah, well, yes and no. In actual fact, the early ones you see are very hard to do. So this model steam engine here, it has working mechanisms on there. So when that actually runs along your train set, they actually move up and down. That was very difficult to do, and then fitting a motor in something so small as well.
And believe it or not, rail travel is far more affordable and accessible than it was in the early 1800s, when it was a luxury for the wealthy. Those behind the project want to highlight just how far we've come.
These trains now, they revolutionise travel. You can now travel to the continent, to Paris, to Brussels, all really quickly and really easily. And you think people back then, when the railways first started, would have only dreamed of that. You think all of the technological advances we've had in railways, which have helped shape the world. You know, time is a prime example of something that's been standardised because of the railways. But it's not just about the past as well, it's about celebrating our future, actually how we as an industry are going to now continue to evolve and deliver the best for our customers each day. And 4-year-old me is very happy right now to sit here and have a model train based on the real thing that I've been involved in making happen. It's just great.
Elliot hopes one day that'll mean our trains will run just like his model railway, never cancelled and always on time. But he hopes more passengers can appreciate the extra comfort and convenience we now have, knowing we'll never arrive at our destination covered in soot. Joe Caution, ITV News, Margate.
Do you know, I've got an awful confession to make. I come from Margate and I don't think I've ever been to Hornby Hobbies. That should be a right, that should right that wrong, shouldn't
Come on, you can do it.
One day. We're talking about today. It's been a beautiful day. The sun has been shining, Holly. It's been another lovely spring-like day.
Yeah, it certainly has. So nice to see that sunshine. Our cameraman Ollie took a trip to Hove Beach earlier on to get some shots of that lovely blue sky overhead. And it really was gorgeous. Take a look. But if you listen carefully, it's very windy, and I think that's probably why. There you go. And I think that's probably why, despite being a lovely, gorgeous, bright day, the beach is almost deserted. Yes. Because, of course, that wind is having a double whammy at the moment. Not only does the wind in and of itself make it feel chillier, But where it comes over the sea, it's a real cold wind as well, because the sea is only about 8 or 9 degrees at the moment. And that's particularly noticeable along our coast exposed to the north and the east. So places like, take a look, Ramsgate, which did look beautiful earlier when Ron Brown photographed it.
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Picture.
It would have felt chilly in that wind. However, despite all of that, it has actually been the warmest day of the year so far.
Really?
Hurst-on-Soon, 21.9 degrees today. Several places getting above 20 degrees. It's the first time we've done that this year. Our last warmest day was a couple of weeks ago at 19.8. The average, of course, at this time of year is only about 11 or 12 degrees. In fact, those sorts of temperatures, those sort of 21.9 degrees, we haven't seen since around mid-October. So it's been almost 6 months since we've seen these sorts of values.
The big question is, though, Holly, how long is this going to last?
Well, the answer is this high pressure should stick around probably for about a week or so. We're not quite sure when it's going to ease off. Temperatures dropping down a little bit. The winds eventually start to ease too, but here are your details. It's not too bad.
Wet by the coast, with a high chance of sun and splashing. TUI sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
So certainly plenty of sunshine around today, but we have had this nagging wind with us, and that is set to continue for the time being, but we do keep those blue skies as well. It's all thanks to high pressure, and that high pressure is not going anywhere very quickly. So it keeps us settled, it keeps us dry, it gives us this sunshine, but you can see a squeeze in the isobars around the edge of it, and that's bringing in this wind. So some sunshine to end the day and starry skies to start tonight, but later on in the night this northeasterly does start to feed in more cloud. So that pushes its way in. Temperatures shouldn't fall away too far, I think 7 to 9 degrees for the tail end of the night, but it does mean some of us may start a little bit grey tomorrow morning. Now that doesn't last, it will thin and break quickly, and then again we should all see lots of sunshine. So once more, there's lovely blue skies on offer, but again you have got this wind in the mix, so again particularly around coastal areas that will peg back temperatures, but come inland, values aren't as high as today's values, but they are still up in the mid to high teens in places. Taking a look at our times of high water for tomorrow, at Margate we've got 5:41, again at 6:21 into the evening. So lots of sunshine into the coming days, that's for sure. We have got this breeze around, but it does start to ease a little into the beginning of next week. You can see temperatures not as high as we have been seeing, and actually with those lighter winds into next week, we do start to see the return of some frost by night. Take care.
TUI sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
I'm liking the look of all those yellow suns in the next few days. Very nice indeed. Now, in just a moment, the ITV Evening News with Lucrezia Millarini.
For now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your weekend.
Bye-bye.